Have you ever found yourself banging your head against the wall, thinking about how you're going to lead certain people on your team? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 7 tips that great leaders focus on to create lasting impact with the people that they lead. All right, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ben Ward, and I've led sales teams for over 2 decades, and I like to talk about leadership principles that inspire high performance and how to draw out the very best in the people that you lead. If you're responsible for inspiring, motivating, coaching, and teaching your team to achieve results, and you want to continue learning and growing as a leader, then this channel was created for you. Hit the like button, helps more leaders see the videos. And if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. I want to hear from you either way. By staying tuned to the end, I'm going to share one bonus tip that makes all the difference in leading your team to success. And if you miss this one thing, it's like pulling the pin on a grenade and throwing it at your feet as a leader. Listen, every one of us struggles in one way or another as we're trying to lead our teams to success. It's kind of like a roller coaster, isn't it? Often this leads to middle of the night stress wake-ups. You know what I'm talking about. So I want to share some of the most impactful leadership tips that I've tried to remember and apply, and I've found that when I do, it makes all the difference in my leadership. And I know it can for you too. All right, tip number 1. Adopting a mindset that the people I lead don't work for me, they work with me. And adopting a team mentality where TEAM, together everyone achieves more. Now we all know there's no I in team, right? There's no secret there. Number 2, focus on catching people doing things right. It's natural to find things that are wrong and point them out, but to be highly influential with the people you lead, make it a point to shift your focus from catching them doing things wrong to catching them doing things right. There's a great little book, 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. I highly recommend it. You can read it in like 45 minutes and it's power-packed. And that was my takeaway from that book. 3, great leaders understand that people who feel good about themselves produce good results. And I like to think of my brother Grant. He's an incredible leader, and he shared a text with us on a family feed. And this is the text, there's a picture of it. And I love this, that I don't do surveillance anymore. It's all about having an office arcade and a Mountain Dew station. And I love that because that attitude of what can you do to have things be positive? What can you do to reinforce positivity? Because it is true. People who feel good about themselves produce good results. 4, great leaders, highly impactful leaders. Leaders that inspire the best from those they lead see people deeply. As people, they see them deep as a human being, right? This will help you serve with a heart at peace rather than a heart at war. And I want to share a story about the dishes. I came home one night, started doing the dishes, and I'm like, I first was happy to do them, to serve, to help out around the house. And about halfway in, I saw the oatmeal was kicked in there, and I'm like scrubbing, like, what? Why couldn't they have just rinsed this? And I started getting ticked off, and I shifted from doing the dishes like happily to like secretly at war with my family, my wife, and I'm scrubbing those dishes, and now the dishes got done, but they got done in 2 very different ways. One with a heart at peace, when I'm just trying to be helpful, and the other with a heart at war, when I'm blaming, and by the end I was ticked off, throwing the dishes, being as loud as I could so that my family would know that I'm doing the dishes. And when we serve the people on our team, we can serve them with a heart at peace, just trying to be helpful, or we can serve them with a heart at war. And the orientation of our heart will make all the difference to the impact our leadership and service that we give to our teams and those we lead will make. 5, focus on giving others a name to live up to. I love this from the ancient philosopher Goethe. He says, if you treat a man as he is, he will stay as he is. But if you treat him as if he were what he could and ought to be, he'll become what he could and ought to become. And I just love that concept, that as we treat each other the way that we could be, we tend to rise to the belief that others around us that we respect have in us. Give that gift to those that you lead and see them as their best, treat them as their best, and watch what happens as they start moving towards that and growing into their best. 6, control the controllables. I think Mother Goose said it the very best when she said, for every ailment under the sun, there's a remedy or there is none. If there be one, try to find it. If there be none, never mind it. And I love that from Mother Goose, because as a leader, there's going to be so many things outside of your control. And as you focus on controlling the controllables, doing the best you can with what you have, helping to serve those on your team the very best you can, and that's what you can do. And for every ailment under the sun, if there's a remedy, find it. If there's not, never mind it. Incredible advice, Mother Goose. Thank you. 7, and I love this. After the victory, this is what great leaders do. This is the mentality of great leaders. After the victory, you hold the trophy. That's powerful. Think about it. Who's been a leader for you that you've had success and they've given you that trophy? Will you follow that person anywhere? Great leaders give credit when things go right, and they take credit when things go wrong. It's the window in the mirror principle. When things go right, they look out the mirror on who they can give credit to. And they look in the mirror, they take credit when things go wrong, when they don't go as we had hoped. And that's a powerful leader. So I've gone through these 7 principles. I wanted to share with you 7 tips for a high impact leadership. I challenge you to pick one area to focus on. One of these 7 over the next 7 days, one a day. Don't overwhelm yourself. Choose one you're going to focus on today. You're already doing a lot of these things naturally, but zoom in on one. And within 1 week, you will have put into practice all 7 of these powerful leadership principles. And watch as your leadership is transformed and the results on your team begin to skyrocket. It's true. People who feel good about themselves produce good results. So here's a bonus. Great leaders assume innocence. They assume the people they lead have good intentions, and before launching into correction mode, great leaders have found that when they assume innocence, most of the time they're right. Think about that. And great leaders make sure they listen like crazy. They're assuming innocence, and then their ears perk up to find out what's really going on. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. This is the proportion we should listen versus talking. Twice as much listening than talking. And I think it's super fascinating that the word silent and listen have the exact same letters. So as we assume innocence and go to work to become super curious, asking a ton of questions and try to understand the people that we lead, this is where we start. And the reality is sometimes they're not innocent. And as a leader, we have the responsibility to flesh this out. If you want to go deeper with a tool to have highly effective, crucial conversations with the people you lead, download the checklist, 5 checks before you correct. And it's down in the description below, as well as pinned in the comments right here. And by checking out these 5 boxes before you launch into correction mode, it will lead to increased productivity, mutual respect, greater rapport, and higher results as you communicate effectively with your team. I've used this tool to check myself before having hard conversations with the people I lead, and it's saved me a ton of times. Trust me, you don't want to launch into correction mode as a leader without first making sure you've checked yourself in these 5 areas. The tool is linked in the description below, and I'll put it in the comments as well. It's my free gift to you. Well, I hope you found a ton of value in this video. Make it an incredible day.